Hi, Eloise Ansell here, intuitive healer based in the UK. Hello, welcome to my channel if you're new. Hi, welcome back if not. Uh, so I don't know if you can see, I've got a time t-shirt on today because it's time to talk about time again. So when I tuned in today to see what we were going to talk about, it was time, and I thought, oh, I'll go and put my jumper on. But it says, is it time for bed yet? Just in case you're wondering. Uh, but the topic of time came up, and I'm like, oh, I talked about this recently, and I was like, what didn't I say? And then the concept of fractal time came in. So my last video, and I will link it below, and maybe if I remember, put a thing up. Uh, I made a video on time talking about how it doesn't really exist. Now, alongside that, we have linear time that we experience. And we tend to think of that as like one continuous line. But the sun is hurtling through space, who knows what speed, I can't remember. And if you've seen any of those beautiful videos, and I will pop a link to one below, as the sun moves, oh, let's got anything, but as the sun moves through the sky, all the planets are going around it in their own trajectories. And it's very beautiful to see these images and videos of the simulation of this kind of going on. They're very lovely. Now, what this means is that imagine this finger is the sun and this finger is the earth. As the sun's hurtling through space and we're spinning around, every complete circle of the sun, let's take the 1st of January, for example. We're going to be the 1st of January here. We're going to go around the 1st of January here. We go around. So we almost end up with another timeline for each date. So the 1st of January, the planet comes back into like this parallel line. So we've got this line in space, and then the spaced out kind of blotches where dates are. So this causes an interesting thing because there's this like kind of connection between all dates that are the same. If we look in terms of movement around the sun, we label these as the same day, and they have a connection with each other. So we can have the similar energies and similar qualities to that date year after year after year. So if you have a tragic event on a particular date, or you have some particular energy to it, so big days like Christmas Day or New Year's Day or your birthday can have a certain energy and quality to them. But if you have an event where something tragic happens, let's say a loved one dies or you have an accident, every time you cycle back to that date, you connect with that line again. And it's like a little chain, a thread. All the other events on that line kind of get triggered as well. That's how I see it. So you're going along about your life, you're really fine, and suddenly you wake up and you feel full of blah, and you're like, what is going on? And then you look at the date and you're like, oh, it's a year since that happened, or it's 10 years since this happened, and you go, oh, why am I still dealing with this? And the fact is, you haven't cleared that energy, so it persists every time you come back to it. So they're all connected. So when we kind of clear out emotional clutter in the body, and we're clearing out traumatic events, and we're clearing out events that have happened to us, we need to factor in sometimes this timeline. So when I'm working with a client, sometimes I go back and I clear like an event, but I'm very conscious and aware that if there's anything else happening on that date that could be triggering it as well, or adding to the flavor or the qualities or the energy that's there that needs to be cleared, I may need to clear other events on the same date, if that makes sense. So if you're a therapist, this might be a new way of looking at things, but it's sometimes we can't just clear that one event that happened on the 17th of February. We have to clear all the 17th of February through your lifetime sometimes, because there could be some like weird thing that happens every year on the 17th of February. I've no idea why I picked that date. It's the day before St. Paddy's Day. I don't know. Random. Uh, but it can be quirky things that are causing us pain and problems that don't make logical sense. And this is what we're always looking at. When I'm working with someone, I'm looking, then their body teaches me all of this stuff. Body's always teaching me what I need to clear, because it isn't obvious. We could go, okay, I've lost, a loved one. It happened on this particular date, and it would make sense that we might get upset on that date moving forward, but we could be getting upset about it before the event occurs, because time doesn't exist and all these dates are already linked up. So your past and your future is connected. There is no separation. So let's take this further, because your past lives could also be on this same line. Like the 1st of January, every time you've been on the planet on the 1st of January, you're connected with that line. So we might have to go through your past lives and clear stuff, because, and I see this happen a lot with clients, they suddenly start getting a problem in their body. Like, let's say a really bad neck, and they don't know why, and they haven't injured it, and they haven't done anything, and they're like, why have I got a bad neck? And, we've cleared anything from this lifetime that would make any sense. And I get drawn to a past life, or maybe they got beheaded or hung, or maybe that's happened 15 times or 5,000 times. And maybe it's happened on the specific date over and over again. So these things could layer up, and then we need to clear not just those past lives, but the date. So there's a few things that can happen. If you keep having traumatic events in lifetime after lifetime on a certain date, that date's going to have a resonance and an energy to it. It's probably going to make you feel a bit bleh, and you don't know why. Or you're entering a new life and you get to a certain age, and at that age, these things happened in a past life. So they get triggered again. So the bad neck comes on because you were hung when you hit 57 in that previous lifetime, or 5 lifetimes at 57 you got hung. That energy is going to build up, and so in this lifetime you're like, oh, why am I getting a bad neck? Now I hit 57. Like, well, your body might have a story to tell us. So obviously I'm picking these examples out of my head. But they can be even more complicated, or sometimes really simple. Now, we don't really know how everything works, so this is just a concept, but it's a concept that can be really powerful in clearing energies and qualities in your body, in your life, in your timeline, that don't make any sense. And this is, for me, past lives, we don't know if past lives really exist or not. There's loads of evidence of kids that remember past lives. Lots of people claim to have connection with things. They come up a lot in clinics, so there's probably something there. But I see it as a tool. It's a way of getting to some energies that we wouldn't be able to get to otherwise. So with this timeline, it's the same thing. Whether it exists or not, we don't know. But it gives us a framework, a concept to work with, to get to stuff that we would never be able to get to in any other way. So if you've got something quirky going on and you want to book a session, feel free. I'll put some info below. But it's something to be aware of, because we can't just clear an event sometimes. Sometimes it's more complicated than we could ever imagine. And it takes some what's the word? Detective skills to work out where the energy is coming from and how we can clear it. And this concept of fractal time can be really useful for looking at that. So have a look at all the images of the planets going around the sun, because they're fun. And any questions, put them below. If you've had an aha, pop it below. If you like it, please share this video and feel free to comment like, subscribe, do all the things, help my channel grow. And it's not time for bed yet, so I'm going to go and do something else. Okay, have a great week. Take care. Bye.